Creativity isn't just like a tap. You can't just turn it on and off. But there are things you can do to help get you into that creative space. These points aren't just applicable to web design, but everything I talk about has helped me in web design by coming up with better ideas and coming up with ideas faster. So let's jump into the first point. So as I'm the sole designer at the agency I work at, it leaves me in a unique position where not only do I have to complete and execute the work that I design, but I also have to manage my own time. Over time, I've learned that I'm most productive in the mornings. I never used to be like that. Whereas now I find that if I get to about 2 or 3 o'clock, my production creatively isn't as good as it was in the morning. Learning this rhythm won't just help you be more creative, but it'll help you be more consistent as well. I like to refer to this as my creative golden hour. I can then plan my days out so that the main thing I want to achieve that day is done right at the start. The next point is something I feel like we could probably all resonate with. I know I definitely can. We've seen it before where you get raised a task and it doesn't necessarily have all the information that you would need. Or it doesn't have as many details in it as we would like. Something like please redesign this service page, recreate the blog template, or even just add a team member onto this page. When it's a single page like this or a single specific task, it's kind of okay if there's not a lot of information to go on. But when it becomes a task that just gets plunked into your queue that's redesign this entire website or recreate this whole brochure, that's when things can become a bit tricky. It's not necessarily something that could be resolved in a single day, and your brain starts to run amok with itself, and you kind of don't know where to start. So all that energy you could use actually to be creative and do that problem solving, you're ending up doing all of this busy work around it that's just drains your energy. So what's the best thing to do in that situation? You need to set the bar as low as possible. Why not just start with the homepage first? Maybe even narrow that down to a hero section. Or maybe it's just choosing the font. The funny thing with creativity is you can kind of trick yourself into it, but you need to do something first, kind of hold the door open metaphorically to let the creativity come in. Plus, I think we all like it when we get that little scratch of happiness when you tick something off your to-do list. Now the next point starts to build on top of that. I hope you can start to see a theme here. Now I know I said at the start that creativity isn't really something you can turn on and off, but there are elements where you don't really need to be creative. When is it that we feel creative? I've kind of started to touch on it already. It's when we're problem solving and we're actually figuring something out or doing something new that we've not really done before. When I'm designing a website, for example, why would I need to use that energy thinking about the pages that really need to go on it or what an FAQ section could look like, when you could be using that energy somewhere else and making a bigger impact on a different section? Building creativity into your process helps you to weaponize it and leaves you that energy for when you really, really need it. For example, you may need to use more of your creative energy and that idea generation when you're looking at maybe a features section or a benefit section. You can create systems for different parts of your project. So for example, maybe you can use something like Reloom or ChatGPT to help build out a basic wireframe so that you can leave certain sections alone and really focus on the design parts that you feel will have the most impact. If you found something useful in this video, please click the like button. It helps me to know if this is a useful video to you guys. If you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. Anyway, let's move on to the next point. So this one is actually one that I've been really experiencing the benefits from in the last few weeks. Without getting too meta about the whole thing, I think that real creativity is a balance between freedom and structure. Waking up at the same time, taking the same commute, to sit in the same office at the same desk every day can start to get a bit stale. Routine does bring a level of comfort, but it can start to make things feel a bit stale. So do you ever get that feeling when you're trying to find a song to listen to and you just keep skipping through your playlist, song after song, and nothing scratches that itch? Being creative, I generally feel like it's the exact same way. So try and switch up your routine every once in a while. As I've said before, this is something I'm actually starting to do in my day job. I've done this at work now, where I've actually switched desks after being sat at the same desk for probably about 2 years now. It's also a great benefit that this desk is also a standing desk. So even just partway through the day when I'm trying to think slightly differently, pressing the button and allowing me to stand up for a bit really has helped me think about my ideas differently. I appreciate not everybody has the ability to have a standing desk, but sometimes it is just changing perspective. If you work from home, it could be maybe even moving to the sofa, moving to the kitchen table. You could also maybe even work in coffee shops, or hell, work in a car park for all I care. There's countless articles out there that talk about how your environment really feeds your creativity. Now, the last point is something that's a little bit abstract. So for a long time, I've always actually thought that I was a bit more introverted than I actually am. And I think for a lot of people that get started in design, it's something that's really personal to me. When I was a bit younger, I used to shut myself away in my bedroom, put headphones on, listen to blaring music and just sketch away and lose myself in that creative process. Actually, this is something I still do today, where a great day for me is being able to focus on one task in particular, put your headphones in and just crack on with it. I genuinely feel like loads of designers that I speak to, it's the main reason why they become designers, so they can listen to music all day and do great work. If this is you, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your sort of stories around that. However, this has led to situations where I've come across a problem and I kind of try to force my way through it. Either trying to choose a font or trying to think of a different layout. I end up just going over and over again, almost like smacking my head against a brick wall, just trying to get it to work. I've actually been doing that for so long once, where a member of the team actually looked at me and was just like, what's going on? What are you focusing on? Visual confusion and concentration on my face was that prominent that they could actually see I was trying to figure something out. Maybe I've just got one of those faces. The second I was able to take my headphones out and I kind of just talked them through it, all of a sudden my brain was just able to think again, and I was able to come up with a solution quite quickly after that. I don't exactly know how this works. I think it's kind of like the change in routine. Being able to talk to someone else about your ideas can really help you get past a problem like that. I've even had it with coding problems before, where I've been like trying to brute force my way through a problem for about an hour or so near the end of the day, and it's just not working. I then come back the next morning and I can resolve it within 10 minutes. So sometimes even just a bonus one for you, stepping away from something for a while instead of trying to force it can really, really help. So those have been 5 points that I really try to use in my day-to-day to help try and keep my creativity flowing without really compromising my work. Another big part of that is trying to find design inspiration. So if you're really interested in finding some more of that, I have a video that you can watch here.